We'd like to welcome the founder and artistic director of Shakespeare in Detroit, Samantha White, and costume designer Cal Schwartz to Metro Arts. Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
So, Samantha, let's start with the basics. What is Shakespeare in Detroit?
Shakespeare in Detroit is a site-specific theater. So instead of us having people go to the theater to see us, we bring theater to them. So we go to the places where they live, where they work, and where they play.
Wonderful. Where did you get the idea to do this?
I was inspired to start a Shakespeare company back in 2008 after I visited the Utah Shakespeare Festival. At the time I was living in Vegas though, and I knew I was going to come home. When I came home, I was actually hoping someone else would do it. But when they didn't, I decided to go to Tech Town and build a business plan and a feasibility plan. And after doing that, I just started my own Shakespeare company in 2012, but it took about a year and a half to get funding to do so. Finally, I got funding from the Detroit 300 Conservancy, and in August of 2013, we performed on the Quicken Loan stage Othello, which was the first time there's ever been Shakespeare in the Park in Detroit.
Wonderful. How exciting.
Yeah.
Now, how are your performances different from traditional Shakespeare productions?
We're outdoors, or we're in unconventional places, like our most recent performance, which was at a recycling center. We were there, and people, it helps people kind of reimagine what they think about Shakespeare or traditional theater. So the fact that we're not confined to one space makes us different. We travel to different historical parks, venues, and sites within the city's boundaries.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
And I know this is your second season, and one of the plays you are choosing to perform is Antony and Cleopatra. How did you choose that?
Well, it's a beautiful story, and a lot of companies don't do it because it's so epic, and typically it's very expensive to produce. But after seeing a bassoonist from the DSO perform there, and he kind of distorted what people think about classical music and turned his bassoon into an electric guitar, and that inspired me, and I wanted to kind of distort what people think typically of Shakespeare. And because that space is so epic at Recycle here, I knew we needed epic text, and that meant we had to do Antony and Cleopatra.
Great. Now, Cal, I understand that all of the costumes are made from recycled material for
They
this
were,
play.
yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, Cleopatra, for the most part, her stuff was made out of a lot of Christmas decorations. As we can see on the gold headpiece there, everything I could get my hands on became most of her headpieces. The Romans, they were a little bit of a post-apocalyptic concept. So what we did for them was we took already established garments and then distressed them and tore them apart and shredded them and added layers and things like that. And then the Egyptians, we took new materials, which was the trash, and then repurposed it and created different garments for them.
So interesting. What is it like creating costumes with recycled materials as opposed to not doing that?
Well, it's a challenge. A lot of times there's paper involved with the recycled things, so there's more glue than sewing, which has its own challenges. But it actually worked out for the best. The glue, when it hardens, acts like an armor. Some of the other materials, I have an industrial sewing machine at home, so things like canvas, tarp, things that typically don't go through a domestic sewing machine, I was able to zip right through on my tabletop industrial. So.
Very nice. And you brought two headpieces with us that are from Antony and Cleopatra. Can you tell us about each one and kind of what went into them?
Sure, sure. The furthest one over on the end is her last headpiece. That's when she goes to the monument and she commits suicide with the snake after she finds out about Antony. The front of the snake is an industrial sprinkler head. We took the top part off. We had two big pipe wrenches and we got it apart. And then the back is a tin serving platter that creates the neck and the back of the head of the snake.
Wow.
And then we took an old disco ball that was broken and very carefully plucked off all of our little squares, and then we layered them onto ribbons. The frame for it is built, it's out of seatbelt strapping that we reinforced with wire. So I didn't use a pre-existing shape. I actually created a shape custom to Jennifer's head.
Wow.
And then layered that on. And then the first headpiece here, the gold one, is the first time we see Cleopatra. You'll see later on, it mimics the entire outfit. The whole thing is in homage to a little bit of Elizabeth Taylor. But we really wanted her to make a statement the first time that you saw her, so that's all the Christmas decorations.
They're beautiful, such intricate design.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Samantha, I understand that you also have an organization called Shakespeare Against Cancer. Tell us about that.
Well, that one is, both of them are very close to my heart, but Shakespeare Against Cancer in particular, because I lost my favorite aunt in 2012 to pancreatic cancer, and she loved the arts, and she absolutely loved kids, and I wanted to think of a way to honor her, because I do miss her a lot. And so Shakespeare Against Cancer, I facilitate vignettes of Shakespeare's works for children who are receiving chemotherapy, typically at Children's Hospital or the Children's Miracle Network at Beaumont Children's Hospital. And we go in there and introduce them to Shakespeare, and a lot of times, too, it's the first time some of the staff and the parents have experienced Shakespeare, so hopefully when they're feeling better, we've created a long-lasting relationship with the bard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I bet it's very well received, too.
Oh, they love it, especially when they see the wings in A Midsummer Night's Dream. They go crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I understand we're going to be seeing a performance today.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly will we be seeing here in a moment?
I think this scene in particular, the reason why we picked this one is because you get to see a lot of the dynamics that are a part of Antony and Cleopatra's relationship. There's a lot of tension, there's a lot of sexuality and sexiness in it too. And so, and we have two wonderful actors, Jonathan Davidson, and our Cleopatra is Jennifer Cole, and they're gonna kind of give you a gist of what happened when we were at Recycle here not too long ago, a week ago. It's a lot of passion.
Great.
A lot of it.
We're looking forward to it. Now, where can people go to learn more about Shakespeare in Detroit?
They want to visit shakespeareindetroit.com to sign up for updates so they can find out about our upcoming show, A Midsummer Night's Dream, which is going to be back at Grand Circus Park. And they can also find us on Facebook at Shakespeare in Detroit and Twitter, Shakes in the D.
Great. Well, thank you both so much for joining us
Thank you for
today.
having
Thank you.
Up next, actors from Shakespeare in Detroit.
I am sick and sullen.
I am sorry to give breathing to my purpose.
Help me away, dear Charmian. I shall fall. It cannot be thus long. The size of nature will not sustain it.
Now, my dearest
Pray
queen.
you, stand further from me.
Well, what's the matter?
I know by that same eye there's good news. What says the married woman? You may go. Would she have never given you leave to come? Let her not say, 'tis I that keep you here. I have no power upon you, hers you are.
The gods best know.
Oh, never was there a queen so mightily betrayed. Yet at the first, I saw the treason's plan.
Cleopatra.
Why should I think you could be mine and true? Though you, in swearing, shake the throne gods. Who's been false to Fulvia? Riotous madness, to be entangled with those mouth-made vows that break themselves in swearing.
Most sweet queen.
Pray you, seek no color for your going, but bid farewell and go. When you suit staying, then was the time for words. No going then. Eternity was in our lips and eyes. Bliss in our brows bent. None our part so poor, but was a race to heaven. They are so still. Art thou the greatest soldier of the world? Art turned the greatest liar.
How now, queen?
I would if I had thy inches. Thou should have known there were hearts in Egypt.
One word, sweet queen. The strong necessity of time commands our services a while, but my full heart remains in use with you. Our Italy shines over with civil sword. Sextus Pompeius makes its approaches to the port of Rome. And that which most with you should safe my going is Fulvia's death.
Though age from folly could not give me freedom, it does from childishness. Can Fulvia die?
She's dead, my queen. See when and where she died.
Oh, most false love! Where be the sacred vials thou shouldst fill with sorrowful waters? Oh, I see. I see in Fulvia's death how mine shall be received.
Quarrel no more, but be prepared to know the purposes I bear, which are or cease, as you shall give thee vice. By the fire that quickens Nihilus' slime, I go from hence thy soldier, servant, making war or peace as thou affects.
Cut my lace, Charmian, come. But let it be. I am quickly ill and well, so Antony loves.
Precious queen, forbear, and give true evidence to his love, which stands in honorable trial.
So Fulvia told me. I prithee, turn aside and weep for her. Then bid adieu to me and say the tears belong to Egypt. Good now, play one scene of excellent assembly, and make it look like perfect honor.
You'll heat my blood no more!
Oh, you can do better yet, but this is meatly.
Now, blood on my sword.
And target still he mends. But this is not the best. Look, prithee, Charmian, how this Herculean Roman does become the carriage of his chafe.
I'll leave you, lady.
Courteous lord, one word. Sir, you and I must part. But that's not it. Sir, you and I have loved. But that's not it. That you know well. Something it is I would. Oh, Antony, my oblivion is a variant I've all forgotten.
But that your royalty holds idleness, your subject, I should take you for idleness itself.
'Tis sweating labor to bear such idleness so near the heart. As Cleopatra this. But, sir, forgive me. For my becomings kill me when they do not I well to you. Your honor calls you hence. Therefore be deaf to my unpitied folly. May the gods go with you. And upon your sword sit smooth success, and laurel victory be soon before your feet.
Let us go. Come. Our separation so abides and flies that thou, residing here, goes yet with me, and I, hence fleeting, here remain with thee. Away.